Hello everyone, here is part 2 of my church year playlist series. And this one is the big one, Christmas! Yep, the one that used to be the only time where I'd go to church, the only one that really, well, except for Easter, the only one that non-Christians really heavily observe, the only one that, except for Easter, that has really been made into a secular holiday. And as a secular holiday, this is the only one that's really talked about for like at least 2 months before it happens. Sometimes people are getting into Christmas even before it's Halloween. So this is the big one. And like I said, it used to be the only time where I'd go to church. So anyway, what really is Christmas? Well, I mean, I think a lot of people have commented that, well, it originally was the pagan holiday, winter solstice, and that basically the birth of the sun, sort of the dawning of the new year, I guess. And Christians decided, hey, let's make it about Jesus. And so they did. And some people have said that that the myth about Jesus being born was made up at this time. But actually the myth about Jesus and the virgin birth had been around for at least 200, maybe 300 years already. I mean, its origins possibly come from a passage out of Isaiah about woman with child, translated into Greek. There was some sort of mistranslation. There are other passages in the Jewish scriptures, stories about or hinting towards a virgin birth, so that could have been where the story originated. But the earliest writings about Jesus, Paul's letters, refer to him as born of woman, born under the law. And the beginning of Romans, it's mentioned that he was appointed Son of God through his death and resurrection. So the virgin birth kind of wasn't originally part of it, but I'm kind of getting off topic. Now, despite the virgin birth not happening, one of the things that did happen was Jesus was born, although some believe that he came down from the sky. So yeah, but it's more likely that the historical Jesus was actually born. So, except for possibly Good Friday, Christmas is the only day that's of the church year that's really based off of something that actually happened. Yeah. Well, although Good Friday emphasizes it being on a Friday, we don't know what day the historical Jesus was crucified. That was, all that stuff was kind of symbolic language. Now, anyway, what is Christmas? Now, in the secular world, I guess overall in the secular world, it's a time where people rant about how Christmas has become very capitalized, or it's a time where people rant about the war on Christmas, or it's a time where people rant about there no longer being all these loving acts of kindness. Or really, in the secular world, Christmas is supposedly sort of a time of doing good, a time of giving, a time of loving, a time of showing acts of kindness. Now, for me, and a lot of people will probably agree, every year is a time to do that. But for me, I would say the time of the year that is really based off of that would probably be Lent, not Christmas. Now, what is Christmas to me? Well, I already kind of said, well, in the secular world, it's kind of this time of goodness, and it's kind of the only time where people really in the secular world talk about Jesus, but just barely, which is, it's fine with me. Seriously, I'm fine with that. I'm not kidding, I'm fine with that. Well, I mean, everyone, where people do, except for religious fanatics, and okay, come to think of it, it's not. But anyway, what is Christmas to me? It's the festive time. It's the let's have fun time. It's the big time. I mean, that's how I think of it. And at the church I go to, it's like it's the one time where we have, instead of having like those candles in the front, we move the candles to right next to the or right next to the pews, and we have these two giant trees with ornaments on them in the front of the building, and things are very decorated, and it's the time where they have a string quartet. It's the only church service I know of where there's a half-hour choral prelude, and overall, it's really let's be festive. It's the joyous time. We sing all these happy songs about Jesus being born and all these fun, everything's happy, great, let's be festive. And then there's the first Sunday of Christmas, or when Christmas Day is on a Sunday, we could call it the second Sunday of Christmas. It's also a pretty optimistic church service, although I do get annoyed with some things about it. Anyway, Christmas really is, it's fun time. But even during the most joyous of times, I've heard some pretty deep and sometimes dark sermons preached. And as of the making of this video, the sermon I heard last year included an excerpt from It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, recited, and then after the sermon there was a time of silence and reflection, and then we sang the song with this verse included. But with the woes of sin and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the angels' strain have rolled 2,000 years of wrong, and man at war with man hears not the love song which they bring. Oh, hush the noise, ye men of strife, and hear the angels sing. Thank you for watching. Shalom.